Welcome in, my friends. 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. We find ourselves in the middle of July already. I cannot believe it. The summer feels like it is going by quite quick, but isn't that how it always goes? Not really a summer guy, as all of you know. I really love my winters, but I do my best to get along in the summertime. Look, I've appreciated the conversations around the last couple of shows, but today's show is a fun one for me. Not only because I've been following Erica for a long time and I've never had her on the show, but it's also fun because Erica is going to be the first person we're going to interview under our new segment. And if I had my buzzer, we'd do a new segment alert. Everyone would cheer. But new segment alert. Today's segment is What's on Your Mind? So the goal of today's show and future interviews is that we want to hear what's on the mind of our guests, and we're going to do it our best within the 5 to 10 minute time frame that this show exists. Now, you can assume to yourself it won't be 5 minutes, it'll be closer to 10, but that's what we're doing. That's what we have. So those of you who don't know her, here she is today, first time on the show, Erica Bruno with Recall Masters. Erica, how are you?
I'm good, Sean. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on the show and agreeing to be our first sort of test pilot in this new concept.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's get into it. We're going to start it off by asking the big question. Erica, what's on your mind?
You know, it's funny because I read a post this morning talking about how, some of the data people have started to reassess the SAR and put it down to more of like a 15.2 million number. And I immediately thought, this is great for fixed ops because immediately the minute sales goes down, all of a sudden it's like service is this important thing again, right? And I always find it funny because I started my career in a recession and how important fixed ops was and this and that. And then you get to a better sales year and all of a sudden, poof, everybody forgets about fixed ops. So that's been on my mind this morning. So
that's what's on your mind. The reassess SAR number bringing us to fixed ops. Look, I love it because at the end of the day, service is the redheaded stepchild of retail automotive. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It always has been. Now, you're talking to someone personally, Erica, who has not spent time back there. I used to joke with my guys, if I went to service, all I do is ruin a perfectly good suit because I have no idea what's going on there. But my respect for the department, my understanding of the department grows, exponentially with each conversation I have. So from your position, let's start with the SAR number.
Yeah,
Is that surprising to you, the
not at all.
reassessed number?
Nope. Because, I think one thing that I tend to bring to LinkedIn to myself in general is how real and how down to earth I am. And, I have had multiple friends who, again, either just recently paid off their cars or have leases coming to an end and they're looking for new cars and they're asking me about my opinion. They're asking me about what's the best deals, this and that. And 9 times out of 10, I'm like, is there anything wrong with your car right now? Like, why do you need a new car? Or why do you want a new car? If the car is not fitting your everyday lifestyle, then I totally understand it. Like, one of my friends has kids. I was like, are the kids not fitting in the car? That's a valid reason to go get a new car. Other than that, right now, maybe wait, because we're going to start to see better incentives. We're going to start seeing certain things, which we just saw with Ford. And so I'm not surprised because you have a lot of people who have been kind of waiting to see if it's worth upgrading their car because they know cars are more expensive than they have been in the past, especially with tariffs now. Certain cars are going to be more expensive. So depending on what you're looking for. And then the other part of it too is like insurance has gone through the roof. So people are not eager to get out of a car and into a new payment as, a regular Joe Schmo. They're like, I don't really need it. But if you create that need, that's a different subject.
$740 average monthly payment in this country, Erica. I want people to just let that settle with them for a second and really think to yourself, where else does that match up? With most people, it matches up with their rent and their mortgage. Other than that, there's nothing bigger on the line item bill, right?
Yep.
Now, people with kids, daycare, all that, obviously, of course. But in the basic expense world, that's it, right? And you think about that number. You think about how big that number is, Erica. And so you look at, as you say, looking to the fixed ops side of the discussion. What now will dealers do? Where will the focus go to? What do you find becomes the go-to area within service when this happens? What do you find is the first thing people start to look at?
I think they start to look at RO count. They start to look at, effective labor rates. They start to look at warranty versus customer pay. They start to look at profit margin for parts. And those are all great, right? Like those are all fantastic. Those are the things you should be looking for either as a dealer or as a fixed ops director. But what I would love to see dealers focus on is if their service experience is providing a quality and comprehensive repair or service for that customer, because I feel like that's really what is going to separate the great dealers from the okay dealers, is the ones who are focusing on how can I make this not only the best experience they've ever had, but also one they keep coming back for.
Yes. I will tell you, I'm as a retail kid my whole life, much like you. I mean, I've been in the industry now 27 years, whatever it is. I'm a retail kid. So when people ask me about buying experiences, I can't really give you an experience. I don't have like firsthand. The way I buy a car isn't the way everyone buys a car, right? I make
Yep.
one call and I buy a car and I'm done. That is
Yep.
not how it's done. So, but where I am a true consumer is service. It just is. I have a huge client here in Madison, Wisconsin. They do not own a Subaru store. So when my 2007, pride and joy of my life needs repair, I have to go find a Subaru master technician to deal with it. And so I do that. I have to tell you, I'm out of choices. Like there's only 3 stores around. And frankly, none of them are very good at the experience. They're good at being the mechanic. They're good at fixing shit. But I was in there the other day for a oil change, express oil change. Erica, express oil change. Let's make sure I'm not being unreasonable. Express oil change. How long should we wait, Erica?
Let's say max 45 minutes, right?
Max 45 minutes. How about 4.5 hours?
That is not express in any way.
There's nothing express about it. So then after 4.5 hours, as I've been, sort of pacing around, I'm obviously slightly agitated. I haven't said anything. The lady walks over. She says, hey, I just want to let you know we're going to comp your oil change today. Now, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But what did you really expect me to pay for this? After all this nonsense, 4.5 hours. Now my time is all I have, to bill. And so I made the joke to her, look, my billable's pretty high, and you're into me for more than you think. And she was like, well, normally we're better at this, but today we're not. And it's like,
then why?
Right. And I don't think I like that comment. I think I would have rather just heard that, today was busy and we're sorry and move on. But I caught you on the wrong day, Erica. Does that sound fair?
And that's the part too that I know I've shared it on LinkedIn. You've probably seen it for years, but it's like, be a human, right? Like everybody knows that there are going to be days that, hey, we have 5 people that called out. We have, 2 people in our BDC. We're trying to handle 45 appointments when really we have capacity for 30 appointments, and like, that is understandable. People can understand reason. They can't understand lying. So that's the part that, for me is like my biggest pet peeve. I'm like, don't lie to the customer. Like, why would you lie to the customer? Because at the end of the day, all you're going to do is then that lie is going to create that snowball down the avalanche, and then you're screwed even more. So,
and again, don't tell me it's no appointment express if you cannot handle no appointment express. Like, and to your point, had I pulled in and the tech who greeted me would have said, hey, or the service advisor would have said, hey, express is actually backed up today. We only have one text. Give me more like 3 hours.
Yep.
Would you be okay? I would have been okay because I have to drive 50 minutes to get to this location. So I just sort of am pot committed, as my poker friends say. Like I have to do it. But I could have done things differently. I have clients across the street. I could have designed things differently for my day. So that upfront appreciation, that's really what I'm looking for. And I don't feel like I get it. But to your point, now it will happen. Your first one was experience. The second one was the quality of the work. Quickly, what is your definition to that?
So quality to me is value, right? Like it is well made, it is well thought out, and it's well executed. And so for me, like I tell my dealerships, you could have the most certified technicians, you could have all the certified parts, you could have all of this, but if it's not a quality experience, which again ties into that customer experience side of things, where they feel like they got the best value, they got the best quality, and they got the trusted advisor that they went to go and see, right? Like, to me, that is quality. And I think that's the part that, unfortunately, and I don't think it's any one individual's fault, right? Like, it's a leadership thing. Like, the leadership needs to be like, these are my customers. You are my employees that, again, I value, and I want, you to create the best experience that you can. And I'm going to give you the tools and the empowerment and the training to take care of them as much as you possibly can. Now, again, you're going to have moments where maybe you got to get your manager involved, or, an executive involved. That's fine. They should feel comfortable enough to go get that person and say, hey, can I go comp this oil change because it took 4.5 hours instead of the normal 45 minutes? So it's about empowerment, it's about quality, it's about trust, and that's how you build retention. And that's been something I've been really focusing on here at Recall Masters, is like, we talk about retention as being this huge thing, but if people are not constantly maintaining it, kind of like a garden, why do you think something's going to grow the next year if you don't tend to it?
This is exactly why I love this conversation, because I when you talk leadership, you talk all the way down. We talk about how service sort of gets to it after we're done with the sales side of things. Outside looking in, as I sit and I watch service advisors, again, not knowing the role, having never sat in the seat, full disclosure, everyone knows that. But it looks overwhelming. It looks like incoming customers, incoming appointments. Like, wait, what? Wait, how
Yep.
does your service advisor responsible for setting appointments, right? On the sales side, we have BDCs, we have blah, 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 blah. But on service, we're sort of like, yeah, you can deal. And I don't really see that as a thing. I don't really think they have the bandwidth for that. I also find multiple technologies running, Erica. That's got to be extremely annoying. Like, I get
Yep.
4 texts all from different applications, and it's just like, you can't, and then you don't even get like text back. Again, you're setting the expectation. If you text me, that's how I communicate with 98% of people I talk to. And when I
Yep.
do that, the expectation is reasonable return,
Yep.
reasonable return of time, right? And I think when we set those expectations, that's where we run into it, because we want to believe we should have the higher expectation, but can we truly deliver on that expectation?
Well, and I think that goes back to, again, like, what is the expectation of your people? Like, what type of level of quality and service and everything do you want to give? And I went through the Ritz-Carlton program when I was with the Chicago region in Toyota, and it was eye-opening, because they were like, it's not just hoity-toity, fancy schmancy stuff that we do. It's literally simple, tiny things that make someone feel special. When someone checks in and says, oh, I'm not feeling the best, I have a little bit of allergies, and all of a sudden we get them like allergy medicine and tissues delivered to their room. Or, we get some extra water because they're like, wow, it's been really hot today, I'm really feeling it. And just tiny things that, again, it's not rocket science,
No.
but it's being self-aware enough and conscientious enough to understand that, hey, if I just do this one little thing, this is going to turn from, oh, I had to go get my oil change today, to, wow, I had the best oil change I've ever had in my life. And
Yeah.
people are going to be like, what? Like, what are you talking about? You don't
Yeah.
even understand. It was incredible.
Yeah, that Ritz Carlton experience is something, I get a lot of shit from buddies of mine. I stay in 5-star hotels when I travel. I don't travel often. I do it for a reason, because I don't have to think about things like that. I don't have to have the world of little things. And when the
Yep.
little things do go wrong at those places, the immediacy of the fix, of the diving in, and being a part of that, that's what we're talking about here. And I
Yep.
think it's easier to say it. It's harder to do it. And it's even harder to inspect that it is being done. And I
Yeah.
think that, again, we like to put up the big conversation in our industry about what we should do, how we should do it, but who's looking to see if it was done, and how exactly do we execute, right? That's
Yep.
where I come in. Erica, you're not going to believe it. Our time is almost already up.
Oh,
This is
man.
what makes this so fun. So let's get Erica's closing thoughts on this part of the discussion. What would you leave us with to really approach, now that we've adjusted the SAR and we're back on focus with service? What do you leave us with is that focus point?
Focus on loving the customer.
Mm.
Love them as a guest in their home. I learned that from Lexus. I think that is my guiding light at the end of it all, is like, what is that one customer going to say the minute they get home to their family? Hey, I had a great experience at so and so's dealership, or I had an awful experience. Do not go there.
Look at that. See how simple Erica makes it? You know what I mean, guys? We're under 15 minutes, and she has explained to you pretty much the whole game plan of how you can make this work, how you can make it happen. We're going to leave it there with love the customer. Erica, this was exactly why I wanted you on. You are sharp. You've been through it. And you're an industry vet. Thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you.
Everybody, if you don't know Erica, follow her on LinkedIn. That's where I find her. Any questions about what her or Recall Masters does, reach out to them. Get involved. See how they can help you in your service department. Erica, thank you so much. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Thanks again. Have a great rest of the week.